I hope you are having a fantastic day today. Today is February the 26th, 2016, and you are listening to America's best and most listened to fitness show, the Curtis Harwell Fitness Show, with we passed over 6 million listens, and I'm your host, Curtis Harwell, and thank you for listening. As usual, we try to discuss topics that's going to help you to a better and a healthier lifestyle. And I want to thank all of you, my listeners, who've made us the most listened to fitness show on the internet. And again, without you, we could not have a show to share with you. If you'd like to participate in the show today, you can contact me on Facebook at Curtis Harwell. You can contact me at Curtis Harwell Fit or Curtis Harwell Talk Radio Show on Facebook. You can also get us at Twitter at Curtis Harwell BB for bodybuilder. And if you'd like to call in the show today, you can call in at 347-850-8748. Today's advertisers are Michelle's Magic Morsels, and she has those terrific protein cookies made with that good old-fashioned taste. Check out IFBB Pro Michelle Brent's website at michellesmagicmorsels.com for the terrific variety of flavors that she offers with her protein cookies. She has several different tastes. I think she has a sugar-free or a low-sugar one now too. And if you mention this radio show when you call in for your order, you'll also get 3 free cookies with your order. So just mention that to Michelle when you call in your order. Again, we're going to have another terrific show today. We've done this show, not this particular show itself, but we've done a show on carbohydrates before. But I wanted to do a show today to discuss how carbohydrates affects the muscle fibers or muscle fitness and growth. And I wanted to get a little bit more in depth to that. Now, if you're looking to build muscle, you really may want to reevaluate your carbohydrate intake. One of the biggest problems today that I see, especially with a lot of young people, is their reduction of carbohydrates, which in my estimation is a big no-no. You do need to reevaluate your carbohydrate intake, especially as they are key. They're absolutely key to building terrific sculpted muscles. Now, protein is often overemphasized in muscle building diet plans, and carbohydrates are sometimes given very little attention at all. However, carbohydrates play an important role in building lean body mass and shouldn't be overlooked by anyone. So bottom line is, you're not going to create those terrific big or sculpted muscles if you don't intake carbohydrates. Now, what you also have to know, carbohydrates provide energy. Now, during exercise, your body converts carbohydrates that are stored in your muscles and your liver into ATP molecules to use them as energy. Now, not eating enough or not the right type of carbohydrates means your body workouts may really suffer because you will have less energy to train at a high intensity. You'll just basically run out of gas. Now, training at a higher intensity has a greater effect on body building and also the larger and stronger muscles. Now, muscle overload is the only stimulus for muscle growth, and exercising at a high intensity will boost also your growth hormone. Now, let's talk a little bit about carbohydrates and post-workout insulin response. Now, simple carbohydrates should be consumed only after a post-workout, not pre-workout. Now, after your weight training workout, it is important to drive nutrients to your bloodstream and to feed your muscles. It is absolutely essential after your workout to feed your muscles. Now, and it's not only just feeding your muscles protein. Now, you can best accomplish this or do this by spiking your insulin levels And the best way to do this is by ingesting simple carbohydrates within 1 to 2 hours after your workout. Okay, and very important. Now, now during this time, your body is in what's called an anabolic state or an anabolic phase. Now, this means your muscle cells are primed for muscle building at this time. Okay. Now, carbohydrates stimulate the release of insulin, which pushes the amino acids into muscle cells to begin the process of repair. Very important. Now, another function of carbohydrates are to spare protein. Now, since the body relies on carbohydrates for energy, the last thing you want is for your body to use an alternative source for energy. Now, if you don't provide your body with enough energy from carbohydrates, then it will be forced to break down the valuable proteins in your body and convert them into a usable source of energy. And you don't want to do this. This is contrary to what you're trying to do when you're trying to get fit, sculpt the muscles, and or gain muscle mass. Now, this process is known as ketosis. Okay, and unfortunately, your body can't distinguish the difference between the protein you eat and the protein in your muscle tissue. As far as your body looks at it, protein is protein, and it can't distinguish where it's coming from. Now, to save your lean body mass and continue on a muscle growing path, it is vital to maintain your carbohydrate stores. It is vital, it is imperative that you keep your carbohydrate stores up so your body does not start consuming itself or its own muscle tissue for energy. Also, carbohydrates are great and for your nervous system and how your nervous system function. Now, during weight training, your central nervous system works to tell your muscle fibers when and what intensity to contract. So how do carbohydrates fit in here when we're talking about this? Now, carbohydrates are also the main source of fuel used by your central nervous system. Okay, now consuming complex, not simple, complex carbohydrates will ensure your nervous system remains functioning at its highest level. Now, as your nervous system becomes more efficient, your strength will increase and you'll get more out of your weight training workouts every day. Now, all of us want to know, and it's a big question, how many carbohydrates do I need on a daily basis? Now, of course, every day is not the same, but in general, how many carbohydrates do I need as a person? Now, when adequate nutrition, with adequate nutrition, you can repair and improve your muscle size and or quality. Now, it is important to meet your energy demands and replenish glycogen stores when you are trying to build muscle mass. Now, aim to consume 1.5 to 2 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight each day. Okay, now for me, when I say 1.5 to 2 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight, I myself, when I do it, I work off of lean muscle mass. I don't consume carbohydrates for the fat that's, whatever percentage of fat that I have. So I take that 1.5 to 2 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight each day for lean, but many people go off of total body weight. Now, if you're an athlete, your daily carbohydrate requirement is usually a bit higher. And say, for example, the American College of Sports Medicine recommends for athletes to consume anywhere from, say, 2.5 to 4.5 grams of carbohydrates per pound of body weight, depending on the activity. And again, they're going off of total body weight, not lean body mass. Now, bodybuilders and most athletes are universally looking for faster gains in lean muscle and faster recovery from all forms of their workouts. Now, convenience is a big factor. It is a huge factor. And witness the enormous use and growth of super high protein bars in the last 5 to 6 years. It is astronomical how these protein bars are selling now. Now, it is no secret that prime protein issues in bodybuilding those last 5 to 6 years, I'll bet, although somewhat illusory, has been the marketing debate over the relative and absolute nitrogen retention and absorption of whey versus casein proteins. Now, this is also known in our vernacular as the fast versus slow burn of protein, and it's also there's been a debate over the so-called designer whey versus say the metrics casein debate. And let us add nausea to the protein, as an extra ingredient. It's absolutely crazy what we've done over the past 5-6 years when it comes to protein and the protein debate and what's best, what's not best. Is way better versus casein. Both, casein is a longer burning, whey is a quicker burning. So right after workout, recommended whey. Middle of the afternoon after your workout, longer burn casein or casein before you go to bed. Now, the bigger and much more important issue is the ratio or the amount and type of carbohydrates used in concert with any great protein. Now, the fact is, every serious bodybuilder out there and lifter has been sidetracked and horribly misguided on the zero or low carbohydrate kick. You've just totally been misguided and off on the wrong path. Not only is this a whole lot of basically BS and marketing crap, but also going on a low carbohydrate diet plan is absolutely disastrous for athletes who want to build muscle faster, and especially natural bodybuilders who aren't stocked up on steroids. So you've got to have a great mixture of carbohydrates and protein. Now, this issue has been this issue has been propagandized so much by the marketing of protein bars, as any high protein bar must be nutritionally germane to bodybuilding, which is supplying nutrition to build muscle, and that means carbohydrates, my friends. Okay. Now, basically, there are two types of protein bars available out there today. Now, you have a high protein, low carbohydrate bars, and they actually may be high in glycerin, and or bars high in protein and moderate in full range normal carbohydrate bars. Okay. Now, there actually can be a third type, and that is a protein bar for the muscle-less aerobic set who desires super high carbohydrates and for some reason hardly any protein at all. Those are out there too. But for us who are looking to put on some size, get more muscularly fit, and sculpt our muscles, that's not an option for us. And so the bottom line here, everybody, it is the carbohydrate, stupid. You got to have the carbohydrate. Now, let me talk about glycerin just for a second. Let me say that glycerin, while having some special properties, it is certainly not special when it comes to calories. For you people out there who are on high protein, low carbohydrate diets, the first category, this high protein, low carbohydrate nutritional profile may indeed help you to burn fat faster. Okay. Now, but for serious athletes who train consistently at a very high intensity level, say bodybuilders, food bars with high protein and moderate to high carbohydrates and some fat definitely offer better gains and faster recovery. And there is absolutely no question about this, okay? Carbohydrates, absolutely, what they do is they help spare protein and are your body's principal source of fuel. They provide the energy necessary for your intense workouts that you have, and more efficiently than any other energy source. Now, protein absolutely 100% needs carbohydrates to work. In fact, starving your body of carbohydrates during and after periods of intense exercise will likely cause your body to use protein as an energy source. In really bad cases of low carbohydrates for prolonged periods, this may even result in the breakdown of hard-earned muscle proteins to be used as fuel during your fantastic workouts or to replenish muscle glycogen after training. So you got to have carbohydrates. Now, in either case, protein is a relatively inexpensive inefficient energy source when compared to carbohydrates. As much as some frown on sugars and starches, these carbohydrates are your body's most important fuel source. Now, your body breaks them down into the simple sugar glucose. Now, glucose is either directly consumed by your body cells for energy, or it's stored as glycogen in the muscles or liver for later use when your energy demands require it. Those are the simple facts. That's the fact of life. Okay? Now, when glucose is in short supply now, your body will begin to utilize fat and protein, even muscle protein, for energy to preserve glucose levels. Now, this complex energy system has been referred to by some as what's called glucose economy. Now, if you do not obtain enough glucose from the food you eat, your body has the ability to convert protein or fat into glucose. Now, as you burn calories or energy through exercise or remain in a carbohydrate or fasted state as on a low-carb diet, your body scrambles to make glucose in an effort to maintain its glucose economy. And for you, so you know when you're down on glucose or you're pretty much carbo depleted, it's usually when you get lightheaded, you get irritable, you can get headaches, because you have to keep in mind your brain, anything from the neck up, your brain only uses glucose for energy. Now, smart bodybuilders may carbohydrate deplete gradually, only for a few weeks, and when we're talking about a few weeks, maybe 3 to 10 weeks, as they get shredded for competition. Now, during these critical competitions, low carbohydrate trials, high protein bars are convenient and effective means to increase your protein intake and minimize carbohydrates. Now, but beware, be very aware that bodybuilders and other athletes may be at risk of what's called catabolizing muscle protein to meet the body's demand for glucose, and may actually sacrifice gains in lean muscle if they follow these low carb diets, or if you just use what's called the low carbohydrate bars for a long extended period of time. Now, I strongly such use must be occasional and not for extended periods. So that is so important. Now, if you're looking to pack on muscle, carbohydrates and fats are absolutely required. And most of the training throughout the year, bodybuilders and strength athletes are training to pack on muscle. Now, during this type of training, low carb diets categorically, absolutely will not be as effective at building muscle as a diet that is higher in carbohydrates. Plain and simple. If anybody's telling you this, they're lying to you. Either that or they are just plain stupid. Now, moderate to high carbohydrates diet provide better energy levels, better muscle support, muscle growth, and they absolutely will help and prevent muscle breakdown and promote faster recovery after training. All of these things are vital, absolutely vital, when athletes are training for size and strength. Now, there's a lot of research out there that suggests that during these training periods, a protein bar with moderate levels of carbohydrates, and there's stuff out there like the Promax bar, will prove a much better choice than an ultra low carbohydrate bar. There is another thing to consider, is your fat intake also during this period. And that's right. I'm talking about fat intake. Now, the glucose economy model offers insight into how to manipulate fat intake to maintain a lean, muscular look. Okay. Now, when you're restricting the amount of carbs you eat, you need to increase the amount of fat in your diet to help maintain energy levels and to spare protein. So fats and carbohydrates have to be used to spare the protein. Now, when you are eating normal levels of carbohydrates, absolutely reduce the amount of calories you eat from fat because you don't need as much. Now, gram for gram, fat provides twice as much energy as calories as carbohydrates and proteins. So a gram of fat is 9 calories. A gram of protein and carbohydrates are 4 calories. Okay, so small adjustments to your fat intake offset large increases or decreases in your carbohydrate levels, and you simply have to have some fat to grow. So don't be afraid of fat, and you also have to have some fat for your hormonal systems, your endocrine system, your thyroid, your hormones, testosterone. To produce testosterone, you have to have some fat. Now, let's talk a little bit about glycerin a little bit, okay? An equal dose of glycerin will not raise your blood glucose as much as will an equal dose of conventional of carbohydrate. Now, so glycerin is therefore a special low glycemic form of carbohydrate at the least. Now, it's approximately the same calories as carbohydrates for energy balance equation, and it certainly does not increase post-exercise levels of depleted glycogen, where conventional high glycemic carbohydrates will work better. If you're at all confused, like all of us are, to select the best nutritional bar for your particular training cycle, look at the sugar levels listed in the nutritional fact panel on the protein bar that you're going to eat. And what I mean by this is low sugar bars are only appropriate for short-term, low carbohydrates diets. Now, while, believe it or not, bars with 15 to 30 grams of sugar are actually better for putting on size and strength for all bodybuilders, and that's the truth. Those are much better. So out of all of this, I hope that you got that. It's really important that you have to have the carbohydrates. Don't be afraid of carbohydrates. You have to keep in mind when we look at the macronutrients, so we look at proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. When you eat protein, if you eat more protein than, let's say, what your body needs at the time, your body will then store that excess protein into fat. When you eat fat, fat goes to fat. It goes no place else. Now, when you eat carbohydrates, this is one of the terrific things about carbohydrates, and especially if the carbohydrates are low glycemic or longer burning carbohydrates, is that when you consume these carbohydrates, your body will use what it needs for energy now, and then it will also save a vast majority of that remaining carbohydrates in the form of glucose in your liver, in your muscle cells. Now, your body can store up nearly 900 grams or about 3,600 calories, give or take. Everybody's a little bit different. So it can store about 3,600 calories or 900 grams of carbs for energy. So, for example, you've probably heard of long distance runners, and bodybuilders do it carbo loading. So, what you do is you may take Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday to deplete your carbs so your body has released all of the carbs, and then Wednesday and Thursday you carbo load for the race on Saturday, and that's so your body can supersaturate itself with all of that glucose. And so when, say, long distance runners do their race, they've got enough glucose that's going to last them throughout the whole workout. And a lot of times bodybuilders do something very similar. They will have days where they will carbo deplete and then have high carb, carbo deplete, high carb, carbo deplete, and it depends on, everybody's a little bit different on how many days they do it, how many days it takes them to unload. So so bodybuilders and people in the strength energy do the carbo loading also, and it absolutely does work. So I hope everybody got a lot out of this show, that carbohydrates are very special and you need them, and you have to have them to operate efficiently, so you can operate at a high fitness and a high muscular level. I hope everybody has a fantastic weekend, and we will see you next week with another great topic.